Hello, everybody. This is Adam Kidd, and I am the FX Kid. And what we want to talk about today is something very important, and that is Blender Basics. So this is going to be ideal for anybody who is just getting into using Blender, learning the basic functions and what they can expect to see in the program. It's a very, very elaborate program. As you see, we got here going on. The first time a lot of people open up Blender, generally it's, I can't do what I want to do, and I can't make it look as cool as it's supposed to look. And then 9 times out of 10, it sits on their computer for a while, and then they just end up deleting it. And that's a sad thing because this is a really good program. So the trick is to show you how to get the most out of it and how it applies to some of your other programs. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to bring up a project that I've been cooking for a while. All right. And as you can see, this is just a basic text project. So I just did 2 layers of text. I was trying to recreate the opening to Stranger Things, and I was almost successful. I still got a little ways to go on this one here. So I've been using the program for about 10 years. Don't get discouraged if you make some mistakes at first, because as long as you're saving and, the file sizes are tiny, you should be all right. And then eventually you can get onto some very elaborate things such as compositing, which is what I got here. That's what gives everything the nice glow. And if you want to add some motion to it, you can go ahead and go into the video editor. And the video editor is actually really nice. I actually like using this nowadays instead of Premiere. And for years, I was the type of guy who said, you can't get me away from Premiere. I'm not leaving Premiere anytime soon. Well, guess what? I did. And I love using the built-in video editor that is inside of Blender because it works like a film editor. It actually treats a frame like a frame. So that is really cool. So how do we get Blender? Well, I'm glad you asked. And for that, we're going to have to visit that wonderful world of the internet. So there's the internet. And on the internet, we need to visit blender.org. And once you're there, you go ahead and download Blender. And Blender is not that big of a file. Depending on your operating system, you can go ahead and download it. You can also download versions that haven't been released yet. So right now we got a notice for the 2.78 candidate, which I might download myself and try out, but for now I'm happy with 2.77a. So depending on your operating system, you just go ahead and download it. For Mac, I've never really used Blender on a Mac before, so all I know is that you can't use that built-in Mac mouse that comes with it because that thing's terrible. For Blender, I always recommend using the installer. However, you can get many light versions that run off a memory stick. And for Linux, you can either, like in Ubuntu, for example, you can go into the store, and you can you can search for Blender. Blender is canon. However, it's usually a version that's a few releases behind. So I always recommend just downloading the folder, and then I open it from the desktop. So that works for me. Anyway, for me today, I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to go ahead and download, and it'll download the file for me. Once that's happened there, you're going to be treated to some wonderful commercials. The Blender store actually helps finance their operation, and they have things such as, there we go, the Blender Cloud. And if you subscribe to that, you can get access to a lot of really cool materials. So do consider that. So anyway, once your download is done, you go ahead and you open it up. This is for the benefit of the folks on using Windows. You will run the installation like the way you would any other program. So now, what do we do after that? And the answer is we open up Blender. And when you open up Blender, it's going to look something like that. It's going to have a splash screen, but I'm working with some broadcast software, so I just went from window to window. What you're going to definitely have is you're going to have, let's see, yeah, load factory setting. Oh, load factory settings. There we go. You're going to get it looking like this. This is basically Blender out of the box, the way everybody says you should be doing it. But frankly, if we put it this way, there wouldn't be any need for custom features. So we're going to go up to File, and we are going to hit Open. We are not going to hit Open, actually. We're going to go to User Preferences, and a new window is going to pop up. When that window pops up, what we are going to do is select Input. And if you're more comfortable working with the left mouse, you just select with the left mouse. By default, Blender likes to work with the right. I like working with the left. If you don't have a number pad on the right-hand side of your keyboard, you can emulate the numpad with the numbers at the top of your keypad. So a lot of laptop users might have that. I highly recommend just going out and buying one of those little numpad keyboards. And there's a lot of other options that you can use for zooming. I like to use Scale, for example. But there we go. So once you're all set up there, oh, by the way, if you want to set your presets to a different program, so for example, if you're used to using Maya or 3ds Max, it'll actually use your key gestures. So that's great. So we're going to save our user settings, and Blender is all set up and ready for us to use. Blender's very handy and can do a lot of great things, and in our next video we're actually going to go into how to do a very, very basic diamond. So we're just going to make a diamond and render it out, and that will teach us some of the basics of using Blender. So I hope you enjoyed our show, and do tune in soon.